Hi, it's Julie at Prairie Point Junction Quilt Shop. I'm here today to talk to you about the Chenille It Blooming Bias trim. We're in love with this product. There's so many fun things that you can do with it that we've just had a blast creating. So we're going to share a little bit with you today about how this product works and some projects that you can create using it. One of the items that we've created is this is our very own exclusive project. It's called Say It with Chenille. It's kind of a little bit of a tongue twister, but I've used this chenille trim to make some words to accent some pillows, and we've made some cute little bowl fillers with it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it works. The Chenille It trim comes on its roll, and there are two different sizes. One's 3/8 of an inch wide, one's 5/8 of an inch wide. For these smaller projects, I've used the 3/8 inch wide trim. And to make my little bowl fillers, I'll give you a little step-by-step tutorial. I've started with a little square of wool, and then to decide where to place my chenille trim, I've used a small ruler, laid it diagonally from corner to corner, and used a white marking pen to make a line in both directions on my piece of wool. Then I align my chenille trim on those lines that I just drew, and I'm going to stitch right down the center of that line with a white thread. So you'd always want to use a color of thread that matches your chenille trim. And so I stitched the first line down, and then I put a second piece on top and stitched that to make my X. Then I've added 2 additional pieces of chenille to make a plus sign across that X, and that's what creates my little chenille snowflake. Now comes the magic. You're going to use a stiff bristle brush. The Chenille It company makes this wonderful brush that's the perfect size for fluffing up your chenille. So I'll just gently hold it, and I'm going to just fluff away with my stiff bristle brush, and it will fluff up your chenille. And so after you've fluffed the entire thing, it's wonderfully textured like this. Now, if you're just doing a few little projects and don't happen to have one of these chenille brushes, we did a little experimenting. You know, quilters are very inventive to try to find something that you might already have in your home that you could use as well. And we found that this everyday run-of-the-mill dish scrubber actually worked fairly well too. So if you have a clean one of these on hand that has the stiff extra scrubbing part on the top edge of it, it actually works pretty good as well to brush up your chenille, and you'll get a wonderful texture. So then to make the bowl fillers, we just put 2 squares of wool right sides together, stitched around them, left an opening, turned it inside out, and stuffed it, and they make darling little bowl fillers. Or you could add a little bit of pearl cotton or ribbon for a hanging tag, and they would be darling ornaments on your tree as well. My second project was Say It with Chenille pillows. We wrote snow and joy on the pillow, and one of my favorite tricks for this is how you can transfer lettering onto fabric that you can't see through. And my magic secret ingredient is a piece of coarse netting. So I'm going to lay my netting on top of my pattern, and I'm going to use a Sharpie or some other type of black permanent marker, and I'm going to trace right on that lettering. And I sometimes like to make a copy of my pattern so that I'm not destroying my original with the marker coming through, but you can draw your lines following your pattern, and they will come onto your netting. And then you can take your netting and place it onto your toweling. So can you see how you can see the lettering come through? So I've would center it on my toweling, and then I'll use my favorite kind of marking pen that I can either wash or iron out. And if you trace back over top of those letters, I'll just do a little bit here just so you get the idea. My marking comes through onto that fabric. So you're able to mark something that you can't see through using the bridal netting. So I trace the word joy onto my pillow, and then I'm going to take my chenille trim, and it's very forgiving since it's made on the bias. And I'll just lay it here on top of my joy so you get the idea. But it just very easily curves around. So I just slowly position my chenille over top of the lines that I drew. And once again, I'm going to sew right down the center of that line. And as I come to curves, it'll just gradually curve around. It's okay if you have a few little pleats in it here and there. And I'll just keep laying that around as I'll keep stitching by machine with a matching color thread. And it's also super easy to fold back on itself, like here where I've transitioned from the O to the Y. As you're coming around, you can just fold that chenille right back on top of itself and keep stitching. And when you fluff that all up, if you come up here and look at my joy pillow, you don't notice those overlaps at all. So it's very forgiving. So don't worry about any little pleats or puckers or foldovers that you get. Just be careful so you're not stretching it, because as I mentioned, it is on the bias, so you don't want to pull it and create too much tension. But it will just easily curve around both curves, and you can crease it over to make points to turn as well. So that's a fun way that you can create these pillows. I think they would be great on the edges of towels as well. It wouldn't be fun to put it on a sweatshirt. A festive sweatshirt would be another idea. So there's lots of different ways that you can use the chenille. One of the next projects that we're going to be working on is this pattern, and it's from the Chenille It company as well, and it's called Flurries. And we've picked out this wonderful collection of flannels that we're going to be making this quilt out of, and we do have kits put together for that. This project is going to use the 5/8 inch wide Chenille It to give those snowflakes a little bit more dimension, and you're actually going to use 2 layers of the 5/8 inch chenille stacked one on top of each other, and that's what's going to give it that incredible fullness and body that's making those snowflakes look really rich. So that pattern is called Flurries, and we do have kits available for that as well. And then last, for a grand finale, I have to show you the quilt that's inspired all of our Chenille It projects. This amazing panel is the Christmas Eve panel by Layla Boutique. So all of this design is printed on a fabric panel. And then we've taken the chenille trim and accented the different areas of the panel to create this incredibly rich, wonderfully elegant texture. So the chenille, it comes in a variety of different colors. And we've just used the same technique that I showed you when we were doing the pillow. You're going to align your chenille tape over top of the printed areas of the panel, stitching down the center of that with a coordinating color of thread, and then fluffing it up to get that amazing texture. And so even these wonderful holly leaves, the holly leaf is printed on the panel. And we're just taking a sage green colored chenille and following the outline of the edge of those leaves. So the texture is just absolutely incredible. This is such a stunning quilt. We've had such great reaction to it. It's just so unique that people love it. So this will be in very limited supply. We have a very limited amount of kits because as many fabric manufacturers go, they make it one time, and then once it's gone, it's gone. So once the panels are gone, we aren't able to produce kits for that anymore. So if those interest you, you definitely want to snag those right away. So we hope we've inspired you with our variety of projects using the Chenille It Blooming Bias. And you can find the chenille, a variety of these patterns and kits on our website at prairiepointjunction.com. So enjoy!